Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. My name is Josh Lambo. I'm a former MLS and NFL athlete, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to renew your resilience by maybe renewing the way that you think your thoughts. I certainly had to rethink how I thought on several occasions throughout my sporting career. And the first big one was I was with the U17 National Team at a boarding school in Bradenton, Florida. I had just moved down. I was this hot shot goalkeeper, labeled #1 in the country. I'm walking down with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, a little bit of swagger. And that swagger went to the wayside real quick. Because yes, I was the best goalkeeper in the country, but the forwards I was going up against on a daily basis were the best forwards in the country and the best midfielders and the best defenders. And I was picking the ball out of the back of the net way too much. More than I ever had my whole life, and I started to get down on myself a little bit. And not only that, but the fitness that we had to do with the national team was unlike anything I'd ever done. I was a goalkeeper for a reason. I didn't want to run. I wanted to play soccer, but I didn't want to run. And you can get away with it at the club level, but when you get to your national team, there's no avoiding it. You got to work. And so I'm letting up more goals than I ever have. I'm literally the least fit person on the whole team. And I'm starting to think to myself, man, maybe the coaching staff got it wrong. Maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I'm not the guy. And fortunately for me, I had a connection with legendary goalkeeper Tim Howard. And through my goalkeeper coach, Tim Howard relayed a message to me, and he said, look, Josh, when the day comes that you need to run this fitness test, this Cooper test, 3 miles in 18 minutes. So when you have to run 3 miles in 18 minutes to make a save in a game, that's when you can worry about those fitness challenges. Until then, let's keep the main thing, and keep the ball out of the back of the net. And so I was thinking of my 15-year-old self, who apparently thought he knew everything. Don't we all? At that age, I was now privy to this new way of thinking of, well, the best goalkeeper in the country, regardless of age group, told me that, hey, your focus really needs to be on the goalkeeping. Because it doesn't matter, you might be the most fit guy on the team, but if you're letting up a bunch of goals, you're not going to be there. And so my focus was just drifted so far away from what it needed to be on. And that's what happens to us, right? We get distracted, we get sidetracked, and all of a sudden our focus becomes prevalent on something else. And then our performance drops off over here, and we're wondering, well, why? Like, this is what I do. Why is my performance dropping? Because our focus is over here. And so once I got my focus back on my goalkeeping, I started to get that swagger back a little bit. I started making more saves. And you know what? I got closer and closer every fitness challenge. So yeah, maybe it wasn't passing, but I was improving. And that's amazing. What coach doesn't want to see their player improve? So that was the first really big example in my life where my thoughts weren't the end-all be-all. Once I implemented a different thought process, my performance improved, and so my life improved. I won the starting job back. I represented the U17 National Team in the World Cup, got to play 2 games there. And I'm so grateful that Tim Howard opened my eyes to the realization of, hey, the way that you think might not be right. It might not be correct. It might not be the best way to think. And I experienced this again when I got to the NFL. My first 2 years in the league weren't very great. I was bottom third kicker in terms of percentage. I'm going into my 3rd year. I'm playing for the Chargers, and they bring in another kicker to compete against me in preseason. And the reason why I wasn't doing so hot, the reason why I was missing these kicks my first 2 years was my mind was just flooded with negative thoughts. Every time I stepped onto the field, I heard in my head, you aren't good enough. This kick is too far. You've never made one this far before. The wind just picked up. You're not experienced enough. You don't have enough kicks to be in this league. I didn't know every kick, I didn't know if it was going to go in or not. And so now I'm in my third year. I'm fighting for my job. I realize, man, something has to change or my employment status is going to change. And so throughout that preseason of my third year, I pick up this book on mindfulness. And essentially, there's a part of the book that breaks down we can talk to ourselves with our thoughts rather than listen to ourselves with our thoughts. I don't know about you, but it was more than just off the field for me. Sometimes I just have negative thoughts. I don't know where they come from. I don't know where they're born or how they got into my mind. And then 3 hours later down a rabbit hole. It's unproductive. And our mind can only hold on to one thought at a time. So by reading this book about mindfulness, about how to stay present, in the present moment, all of my thoughts I was thinking about was in the past, something that wasn't true, you're not good enough. Says who? Based on what data? Or, man, it's going to be really bad if I miss this kick. That's being somewhere else in the future. So by being able to stay present right here, right now, and learning to talk to yourself with your thoughts. Because again, you can only hold on to one thought at a time. So if you are talking to yourself with your thoughts, if you're being intentional with your thoughts, there's no room for any of the other noise. It can't enter your brain. And so I had to train myself, and I did. I trained myself and trained myself and trained myself to get these negative thoughts to stop. Because that's what I needed them to do. I needed to be able, in an instant, I needed these thoughts to stop. And I don't mean S-T-O-P, I mean S-T-A-P. Have a little funk on it, right? And so I formulated this acronym called STAP to help myself and you get your mind out of the gutter when we need to. And so the first aspect of that STAP formula is to treat our thoughts like an alarm. When we realize that we're having these negative thoughts, we reframe it from a negative thought to, oh, I just realized I'm having this negative thought. Now I can do something about it. And so when you hear that negative thought, you have it in your mind, the S in STOP is to shut off the alarm. That's what we do in the mornings, right? We're sleeping, we're all, comfortable, we're dreaming about Adele singing us a lullaby, and then, oh gosh, what do? The very first thing that you do, you intentionally shut off that alarm so that you can move on with your day. So you can stop being disrupted. And so I hope that the next time you're having a negative thought, self-thought about you or someone else, you can realize that it's an alarm, and we shut alarms off to move on. So tell me how that works for you. Thank you so much for joining me. All the best.